Well, hi, angry and betrayed viewers. I would not be surprised. What a ghastly spectacle it was. And you'd have to say, breaking it down, you know, Manchin's vote, not a surprise. Flake's vote, a disappointment. But Susan Collins, she has secured her place in the history books as a traitor to all American women. And as if that wasn't enough, her speech, her 40-minute dreary, vile speech about Christine Blasey Ford really has determined that she really is deserving of a place in eternal purgatory. What was that about? So, what I thought I'd do is a reading on how this affects the nation, the mood of the nation after that particular little episode. How awful. Okay, I'll do a full Celtic cross on that. So, let me bring you down here, viewers. Yes, I'm back on the bed. Back on the bed. So, the mood of the nation. Oops. The mood of the nation. And because I was up to 2:30 watching the bloody thing. Oops. Put that down. Well, yes, that sums it up. Let's go. What fell out? Well, the compromise card, the you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So many backs being scratched. Just also condescending. The card of condescension, the Six of Pentacles, the rich giving pennies to the poor, or the big and powerful just, living their lives to the exclusion of the poor. I'll give you a few pennies, Susan Collins, and you vote for me. As if the Republicans would even give her the time of day. If she thinks those men think any more of her, she can forget that. Oh. So, the central card we have is quid pro quo, deals. Okay. Oh, well. What do we have influencing this mood? We have the moon, lies and deception. We have madness, barking at the moon. Look, it was all founded on lies and deception and madness, yes. What was acting across that? Well, Kavanaugh, the snivelling, belligerent, alcoholic wanker, on his horse feeling very good about himself. Hate that. But a messenger from the king, meaning he was Trump's man. I read an interesting article somewhere in the last few days that Trump was considering ditching his support of him, but there was simply too much riding on it. So Trump's man rides into town. What's underneath this for the mood of the nation? The devil. This is the devil at work. This is Mitch McConnell. This is those Republicans who turned their back on everything decent and are in league with the devil, chained to the devil. And in this context, the sham of an FBI investigation for a supposedly independent body, supposedly working for the Department of Justice, just a complete sham. Everything about this was diabolical. So we're seeking the tone here, and it seems to be speaking quite clearly. Compromise, in bed with the devil. We have it. So, further back, leading into the deceits and madness, we have the Five of Swords. A victory of sorts, someone who's had victories and defeats, but it's a victory of sorts, but his people don't even like him. The point being, in relation to Kavanagh himself, is more and more people are coming out who don't like Kavanagh and who don't think he's equipped for the office. This is the guy who just goes forward. He's actually got two swords there because he's stolen a sword. He's stolen the robes of office to work his business. So this is people walking away from Kavanagh. This, I would suggest, viewers, is that more and more stories are coming out about him. So let's see what's happening here. The general tone, money and deals. See how these two cards relate, money and deals. Also known, I would point out, as fool's gold. If you are in bed with the devil, let's look at the context of this reading, doing deals, fool's gold, in league with the devil, right? But there's a certain interesting quirk to this card. And as I point out, not all readers do, but for me, always that gap in the hedge with the path is repeated experiences. If the nation does not learn from this experience, it is condemned to relive it and will have to learn it another way. It's most important the nation learns about the role of money in American democracy. In fact, it's just clinging on to being a democracy. It's becoming an oligarchy with these big donors and big business in bed together. So it's most important to reclaim the democracy in the midterms, viewers. How does the nation see itself? Yes, illusion, delusion. In a state of delusion. It's all coming out. This is all speaking to money. It's interesting, isn't it? It's like these younger politicians are actually separating themselves from the super PACs. They're doing it on their own. They're moving away from this delirium where the nation still kids itself. It's a level playing field. You just work hard and you get all these riches. No, it is not a level playing field. The figures have just come out on jobs. This is the lowest unemployment rate for decades. Why doesn't it feel good? It doesn't feel good because it's not based in reality. These are shit temporary jobs with shit wages. This is part of the illusion of the American psyche. So what's acting on the fool's gold and the deception about money? The voice and reason of sanity. So the Page of Pentacles. Money, money, money cards. This is a crossover card for those of you learning tarot. Certain cards are crossover cards. This is a Cups card, but it's speaking to money. This is the thinking American, the red turban symbolizing academic thought, liberal thought, actually respecting intellect, and looking at money in that way. How can money be used to make people's lives better as opposed to delusion and illusion? Well, atmosphere or hopes and fears of the nation. Ah, bless, that's good. Optimism. The most beautiful card in the deck, the Star. Optimism. It's really important, viewers. Let me have a famous Lena digression here. It's really important when there's a setback like this that is an obvious travesty, right? This wasn't just more Republicans voting than Democrats when they hold the balance of power. It wasn't as simple as that. Kavanaugh demonstrated he was not up for the job, even if you set aside all the sexual stuff. His demeanour was so appalling that 1,700 law professors spoke out against his appointment. You had ex-Supreme Court judges speaking out against his appointment. This was not an accident. This was a bulldozer. And so it's really important to keep your optimism. And it's really important to keep the vision. Keep the vision alive. Better times ahead. I can't tell you how important I feel this is as a message. My darling viewers. All right. Now, before we get into the short-term and longer-term outcomes, remember, I've said this before, Kirsten Langston has said this before, this is an uneven process. There'll be setbacks and leaps forward, setbacks and leaps forward. Not all the fabulous young Democrats are going to get up, but enough will. So it's important, ever more important, do not let the anger or the fear paralyze you. Make it work for you. Get out there. So let's look what's happening. This is still talking about America generally. Coming up. What a perfect card. The Fool. Now, let me just talk for a minute here about the Fool card in the tarot. It is one of the cards that is most misunderstood in the tarot. And the reason is, it looks kind of clear-cut and obvious. There is the Fool walking off a cliff. This is in relationship. Let me take the camera down again and talk about this. You have the Fool, you have the Moon on top, the illusion and the nuttiness. You have the card absolutely of illusion and delusion. So if you take it in a straight line, the Fool walking off the cliff. Okay? But with the Fool, it is the 0 in the major arcana. And it is the beginning and end of the major arcana. So what does that mean? It means it represents the most foolish, unevolved position in the zodiac or in the scheme of things. But because it is the 0, it is also the ultimate. So I describe it to people like Buddhism, where people spend their whole lives getting back to the point of neutral, the point of 0, just being in the now. It is the card, when you think of it, someone not walking off a cliff is foolish, but at the same time, at the other end of the spectrum, as America evolves, and it's evolving very rapidly now spiritually, this is someone who is confident in the universe and is prepared to step forward knowing that the universe will support them. So in a political reading, we could say, yes, that is foolish, but it is also America at its best to bravely go forward and to engage with the star of hope and clarity and perception and good things. Right? So this is a watershed moment with the Fool card. So the negative aspect of the Fool is all here, the lack of clarity, the being deluded by this narrative that wealthy people are better people, all that crap. There's the line of deception. Or you have all these other energies going on, particularly the Star, but also the Page of Pentacles, rethinking money, a new approach to money. It's at a crossroads. So coming further out in the cold, so this is a great fear. This comes under the Kavanaugh card of winning at any cost. If, as a nation, people continue with this form of politics, this winning at any cost, no middle ground for sensible people in the centre of the Republican Party to talk to those who are in the centre of the Democratic Party and actually making some vision for the country, it will leave everybody out in the cold if people do not wake up and do things differently. That includes every eligible American voter voting. If you want to preserve a democracy, you must use it. It is really important not to be daunted by the fiendish lack of morality. The devil in that sense, like I've said often, viewers, it's not literally about the devil. There isn't this satanic person living underground. It's about the lowest impulses of all people. It's about falling for shams. It's about the actual lack of engagement and helping other people. That is the devil's work. That is evil. Actually spreading this propaganda. Also, right, so let's go further out. Women celebrating. Oh, I love it. I love it. So this you'd have to think, given that it is further out, I cannot say when. It could be 2 months, it could be the midterms, it could be further out again, an impeachment. Because for Kavanaugh, remember, myself, other readers have said too, Kavanaugh ideally would not get the vote, but if he got the vote, he's not going to be a lifetime appointment. He's symbolic. His role is symbolic. And the Democrats, if they get the balance of power, will have to start impeachment. That job is not as hard as it was 6 weeks ago. There's proof of his perjury, and now, I'm sure many of you will have caught up, there's an actual email chain tampering with witnesses. He tried to tamper with witnesses just this last week or two. So the evidence is there. It's a matter of time, and he will be removed. So I think women celebrating has to be either or both of those things occurring. So please don't lose heart, viewers. This is a stumbling block. American democracy has to be fought for. Its institutions have to be fought for. The FBI has to come up with some decent explanation of why that sham investigation was allowed to go ahead. And every institution has to pull out its best people and fight for why it was that the American Republic was designed in the way it was, when it was. It's like it's a revisiting of history. It's a cycle in history, and you guys are all part of it. So blessings for the struggle. Bring on the midterms. You've got all my love and support. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Okay, I'll be back soon. Bye.